Welcome to Real Estate Radio Live, an informative and engaging podcast discussing everything you need to know about the world of real estate. Your host, Mike D'Ambrosio, provides you with insight and guidance on how to buy, sell, finance, and invest in real estate and much, much more. And now, to guide you around the world of real estate, here's your host, Mike D'Ambrosio.
Welcome into Real Estate Radio Live, the podcast series. I'm Mike D'Ambrosio, real estate professional and your host. Hope you are enjoying our new podcast format, same great info and education that you guys are accustomed to with the benefit of minimal commercial interruptions. You can download the podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, or simply go to reradiolive.com. That's reradiolive.com. Make sure you get our app, too, on your smartphone. RE Radio Live is in the iTunes store, and you can follow our show. You can follow our show on the podcast part of your phone as well. And please go in and rate the show. We love to get your reviews and your feedback, hopefully good feedback. But we always, if you want to reach out, a lot of these topics we talk about are due to our listeners reaching out and wanting certain information and topics. So we love to get your rave reviews and feedback. And you can do that. To reach out to me, you can go to my website, MikeDsells.com. That's MikeDsells.com. Or you can email me, Mike@reradiolive.com. Or you can always text or call in 408-630-0101. That's 408-630-0101. And for everything Real Estate Radio Live, go to the reradiolive.com website. So I'm in studio today on my own. I don't have my trusty sidekick here or a guest, and so it's getting kind of lonely in here, although Ranya's here recording everything, so we're good to go. So basically today, I'm going to be giving away money today on the show. How does that so? I'm going to be giving away free money for people. No, it's not free money, but there is a program. So I want to talk most of the show. I'm going to be talking about this new HOA down payment, this HOA assistance program that a lot of you probably I would venture to guess 99% of you have never even heard about, but it's gaining a lot of traction. I'm going to talk about that, which will probably take up most of the show today, and then I'll get into a little bit of 2017 predictions as well. So with that being said, let me just tell you what the Housing Affordability Fund is. The Housing Affordability Fund is a nonprofit of the California Association of Realtors. So back in November of 2002, the California Association of Realtors, or CAR for short, unveiled the Housing Affordability Fund. It's a nonprofit 501c3, and they are dedicated to addressing California's growing housing affordability crisis. In the midst of all the skyrocketing housing costs, we are, as realtors, bearing witness to more working families getting pushed out of the state, and pushed away from the American dream of homeownership. So, with that being said, the Housing Affordability Fund was established to provide more options for the first-time homebuyers' entry into homeownership, especially in California. So there you have it. That's probably more about half, as we like to call it, than you probably wanted to know. But before I get into how I'm going to be giving away this money, I got to give you a little bit of background. So we do have a housing affordability crisis in the state. We have it most especially in Silicon Valley, and this is an interesting program to get you into it. So what is this? This program is called it's basically called the Housing Affordability Fund Homeowners Association Dues Payment Assistance Program. So it's a long name, but it can help you out a lot. So basically, Housing Affordability Fund, they have like almost $3 or $4 million in their endowment fund to start giving out for programs like this. So they started with a $500,000 cap on this program, which actually just got extended to $1 million because they're going to, basically they projected that they're going to run out by the middle of this year, so they extended it. So basically what this HOA assistance program will provide qualified first-time California homebuyers up to 6 months of HOA dues not to exceed $2,500. So this is on a first-come, first-served basis, and you do have to qualify. It's not guaranteed that you get this assistance, but you do have to qualify and apply. So here's what the stipulations are on the HOA assistance program. So in order to qualify as an eligible grant recipient, you must do the following. You must have closed escrow for the purchase of a single-family dwelling located in the state of California with an HOA. So you would have to close escrow on this property. So I would say with all of everything I'm about to tell you, if you're in escrow right now or you're thinking about buying a home, don't buy a home based on thinking you're going to get this program. I mean, you still have to qualify for it because of the fact that you have to apply for it after you close escrow. I wouldn't buy a property thinking, I'm going to get 6 months of free HOA payments. And again, that's up to $2,500 or the first 6 months. So let's say your HOA is relatively low. Let's say it's $200 a month, then you're going to get $1,200. But if it's $350 a month, then you're going to get $2,500 because $350 times 6 is going to be more. That's what, $2,700 or something like that. See, look, I did math like that. So you have to close escrow. You must have been a first-time home buyer when you purchase the unit. And what first-time home buyer is defined by this program is not owning a property within the last 3 years. So just keep that in mind. You must have, and here's the important part, and you can call me today, but you must have been represented by a California realtor through the purchase of your single-family dwelling. A realtor who simply makes a referral or receives a referral fee and doesn't actually represent you through the course of the transaction is not a qualifying representation under the program. The fourth thing is that the purchase price of the single-family dwelling must not exceed 150% of the mortgage limit set by FHA for one-family units in the county. So you're going to have to you can reach out to me. I can send you the website to go and look for the mortgage limits in your county. Or you can reach out to me. You can reach out to Joe, and we can help you out with that. The next thing is that you must have used financing to purchase the single-family dwelling and must not have paid all cash for the purchase. And my guess is if you're buying something in California all cash, you probably don't need the $2,500 assistance program, but, we still have to give you that little rule. The next is you must intend to occupy the single-family dwelling you purchase as your primary residence for at least 2 years after the close of escrow. So you got to stay there for 2 years. And finally, we must each half must receive the form from you no later than 30 days after closing escrow on this unit, and all of the signed and completed documents, the application, the certification form, and the closing disclosure form must be included in the application. So there's quite a few stipulations, but I mean, you can't really blame them for giving away $2,500 to individuals to require, a couple of things. And so if you're working with a realtor, they have access to these forms through their Zip form login, which is where we get all of our contracts from, or you can just reach out to them. They can set you up with this program. I'm happy to help you with anything that you need on this program. Again, this is through Housing Affordability Fund, which is a nonprofit organization for the California Association of Realtors. It's the HOA payments. What is it called again? The Homeowners Association Dues Payment Assistance Program. So again, they've helped out about, I want to say 30 or 40 families so far, which doesn't seem like a lot across the state. But the fact is that it hasn't really become well known until recently. We're only into January. It started this year. And so they're hoping by extending out the actual grant amount, they're going to be able to help hundreds and hundreds of families. So pretty awesome stuff through the California Association of Realtors. And this is just a benefit of working with a realtor, working with someone who's a part of California Association of Realtors, and you get access to these programs and all that good stuff. So for all of that, you can always reach out to Mike at MikeDsells.com. You can email me, Mike at RERadiolive.com. We are going to take a quick break, and I'll be back after the quick break to talk about 2017. I'll be right back.
For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Do you know Mike D'Ambrosio, reputable real estate professional in the Silicon Valley? He was born and raised here in Silicon Valley. He's very excited to be working in a geographic area that he loves and knows well. He firmly believes that this is the best place to live in the entire country. He specializes in Bay Area real estate. Are your family's needs changing? Are your parents in need of changing living conditions? Are your children first-time home buyers? Do you just want to expand your income revenue stream through real estate investments? He would be happy to meet with you and discuss your options while explaining the advantages of using his team to expand your opportunities of owning real estate in the Bay Area. He's dedicated to providing you quality, honesty, and creativity in every real estate transaction. He's highly recommended by many for his attention to his clients' needs and by making sure that your experience is as enjoyable and as painless as possible. Real estate transactions are not small tasks, and that's why they should be done efficiently, smartly, and as thoroughly as possible. That's his promise to you. Whether you're buying or selling, let him put his expertise and experience to work for you and make your transaction a smooth and enjoyable one. The time is now. Don't let another opportunity slip by. Call him directly at 408-630-0101. Email Mike at MikeDSells.com or visit his website, MikeDSells.com. Cal BRE number 0184192. Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live. For more information on today's topic or guests, just visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Again, your host for today's edition of Real Estate Radio Live, Mike D'Ambrosio.
Welcome back into Real Estate Radio Live, the podcast series. I'm your host, Mike D'Ambrosio, and we're going to spend the next segment talking about where is 2017 going to go, some of my predictions. And so we're going to talk about that. The first segment, we talked about the Housing Affordability Grant Program. Again, if you have any questions on that, please feel free to reach out, Mike at RERadiolive.com or MikeDSells.com. And so we're going to talk about 2017 now. I'm going to be talking tomorrow with Joe about more of the inventory counts and some other things about the market as it currently sits and where I think it's going. But I really kind of wanted to take more of a macro view today about 2017 and where I believe, what are going to be some of the big, not issues, but big things that are going to happen in 2017. So let's look back a little bit on 2016. Really, 2016 was a good year for all things being said. It was, a lot of people thought there was a leveling off of some sort. I would call it more of a normalization. And the luxury market was pretty erratic, which we watched the luxury market in California much more. We watched the luxury market on the coast, the coastal lines more so than Midland. So the luxury market was pretty erratic in Silicon Valley, but over on a national level, on a more affordable level, it was a pretty good year. So really where we're at today is kind of in year two of what feels like somewhat of a transition. Again, I wouldn't call it a bad transition. I think it's good to become a little bit more normal and not see double-digit appreciation year over year. That's just not sustainable. And I do want to say something. I was just on a trip in down south for the California Association of Realtors, and one of the, I think it was an Uber driver, was talking about he was an older gentleman, and I know he'd owned property in the past, and I think he's doing this Uber just as he might be a little bit bored or just for some side money. So obviously he's a real estate expert. So he was telling me, he basically blamed a lot of the housing crisis or a lot of the affordability crisis on realtors, in that the reason why prices are going up is because of our commissions and the fact that because the sellers need to pay for our commissions, therefore prices are going up. And so I really didn't want to get into an argument with the guy because he's dead wrong. And if you guys disagree with me, please reach out. But I'm going to fight this till the end of time. Really where we've seen these appreciation points is not realtors demanding their commissions. There's buyers out there that are bidding against each other that raises values. There are a lack of inventory that raises values. There's a lack of land that raises values. There's all sorts of logical things that go into the fact that, and it's just a natural progression. We can't have 2008, 2009 crisis in the real estate industry every year. The fact that values are going up is just a natural progression. Now, I do agree that it's not natural for the values to go up 10, 15% every year. That's not a normal thing. Did it happen a couple of years in a row? Yeah, it did. That's not really something I can control. I can't control putting a house on the market at market value and having 10 buyers come in and bid it up $100,000. That's not my problem. That's not my fault. So that's kind of the way things have gone, and it's just. But so getting back, that's my soapbox segment for the day. But I guess what I'm getting at is, we're in year 2 of what seems more of a transition, more of a normalization, which I think is healthy. I think is good. You're hearing that from a realtor who gets these commissions that I obviously ruin the market, but whatever. Thanks to the Uber driver. So I guess what I'm getting at is it wouldn't be smart to expect a substantially different picture than the one we saw last year. Although I do think we're going to benefit from a faster start this year because 2016 had the worst ever annual start. It was really flat, really slow. But I think we're going to start a little bit quicker, especially since the inventory is even lower, and we're going to see a huge bump after the Super Bowl. So my guess is, I think we'll be up 3 to 5% at best this year. So here's some of the big things, and I just got another 5 minutes here. Here's some of the big factors, I think, into what's going to happen this year in the market. Number one would be obviously the rising cost of mortgage money, and you can talk to Joe about that, and I'm sure Joe and I will talk more about it tomorrow. It's a huge opportunity to get in now before it bumps up a little bit. Federal fund rates have been near zero over the last 8 years, which is unbelievable when you look at it. But that's not going to last forever. We've already seen it going up a bit since the election, and so it is going to go up. We know that. I don't know when. I don't know how many times this year it'll happen, but it is going to go up. And so that means mortgage payments will go up. But I think you can expect that wages will go up as well, together with job creation and job security, which we should be seeing a little bit more of this year than in years past. So that's one, rising cost of mortgage money. Number 2 would be rising inventories. And again, we're at low inventory right now, but it's going to start bumping up. And I think that some of the price normalization we saw last year might influence sellers to put their house on the market rather than wait in hope of more appreciation. I think at this point they kind of realize, hey, maybe I missed out on the 2012-13 craziness, but I've gained a ton of equity over the last few years, so maybe it's time to sell and get out. So there's that, rising inventories. The third thing would be growth strategy. So the fiscal and economic stimulus package scheduled to be implemented this year is already producing hope and confidence. I'm not getting on a political soapbox right here, but we're already seeing different things happen in the economy that are going to help the economy. The stock market reached 20,000. I think there's going to be some short-term positive results, and long-term is a little far off to be talking about, but I think this year we're going to see some good growth in the economy. So growth strategy is number 3. Number 4 is new homes construction, and after 10 years of really bad new homes growth construction, permits being issued for new homes, we're seeing a lot more of it. Now, you're not really going to see, and especially, I know we have podcast listeners from all over the country listening, but in Silicon Valley, we have a lack of land. So a lot of the new home construction we see aren't these huge residential developments. They're more of these infill, urban village developments, high density, mixed use type of things, which we're seeing all over the county. So I think that as far as new home permits and that type of thing, we're going to see more of it. And frankly, we need more of it. So new home construction is the next one. And, the other thing I think is, the fifth thing is it's only best to be at the top, and I'm talking about luxury properties. I think if luxury properties are going to, especially in the area we live in, they're going to be gobbled up pretty quickly. We have a lot of foreign investors, a lot of foreign buyers coming in from out of the country, and I think that luxury properties will continue to be sold. I think that a number of high-end fixer-uppers are going to be sold. So I just think overall luxury is going to be a little bit better than last year. And the last thing I just kind of alluded to in the luxury property part is foreign buyers. I think regardless of where they come from, there's a slowing and risky global economy and global environment, and they want to get their money over here. If they can afford to buy U.S. real estate, and if they can afford it, they're going to come over and do it. So I think because of the fact that having their money abroad is not secure, and bringing it over to the U.S. gives them a feeling of security, you're going to see it. And we've been seeing it for the past few years. I'm not telling you anything new, but I think that we're probably going to see it just as much as we had in the past, if not more. So, again, to summarize, rising cost of mortgage money, rising inventories, growth strategy with the economy, new homes construction, luxury properties, and foreign buyers. So you can mark that one in the books. That's all I got time for today. If you have any more questions, want to chat more, want to chat about my soapbox segment, I'm happy to do that. You can always reach out. Always go to my website, MikeDsells.com, MikeDsells.com. I'm also on social media, Facebook.com/MikeDRealEstate. For all you social media people out there, keep it to fun stuff, friends, family, fun events. I'm sick of all the politics on there. No matter what side of the side you're on, just keep it to fun stuff and keep your politics off social media. No one cares about your opinion. At least I don't. So thanks for tuning in, everyone. Thanks for being a Real Estate Radio Live listener. We appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.
You've been listening to Real Estate Radio Live. For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Subscribe to our podcast. Discover more at RERadiolive.com.